Okay, welcome everybody. This is Tuesday. You know what that means. It's time for our business call. And this week we're doing a brand partner Q&A. So we usually do these calls at least once a month, but this is the time where you can ask us questions. So you can either type in the comment box, ask us anything, whether it's how to host a class, how to share, how to not word vomit. That's one that comes up a lot. How to close. Ask us anything, type into the comment box and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Or if you want to unmute yourself, we would love to hear from you as well. You can just raise your hand and I can unmute you. Let me just tell you though, this is something that came up this week from one of my builders, and it was how to not word vomit. Has anybody experienced that before? Yes, yes. Oh my goodness, me on so many occasions, because what happens when you're really excited about something is you just want to tell everybody everything all at once, right? Let me tell you about all these oils and let me tell you about, and it just goes, and the other person is like looking at you with the big eyes going, oh my gosh, I don't know. This is too much. This is like fire hosing. It's too much. So let me just tell you, it has happened to all of us, because we're enthusiastic and we're excited. So take that as a good thing, not necessarily for the other person, but it's good that you're that excited that you want to tell them everything. But just coming from the perspective of like the marketing, right? Really keep it short and sweet, because the thing is that it's hard for any of us to learn all at once. We learn a little bit over time. So word vomiting, how do you handle this? So I think for me, what I like to do is I like to have some canned messages, and this may or may not work for you. Maybe you even practice it out loud, but sort of like when someone asks, how do I get signed up? Or maybe I'm interested in the business. Just having some little responses, right, that you can have typed up on your phone, ready to go. I like to work very efficiently too. So whether that's I'm sending it via a Facebook message or an Instagram message or an email or a text, I kind of have like a similar messaging. But I like to kind of keep it to 3 to 5 points. Short, succinct. Often when I'm sending something, for me personally, it usually is via email or text. Nobody wants to get a text that's this long, right? They're just going to go, oh my gosh, I can't. Just something short and sweet, right? Little paragraph. You could always send like a follow-up message, but here is something that I learned a long time ago is be the one asking the question rather than being the one explaining everything. Does that make sense? So they might go, okay, tell me more about these oils, right? And then you might think, oh my gosh, I have to tell them everything. And it just might be, well, here's how I started. These are a few oils that I'm using. And then you ask a question. It could be like, tell me what's going on with you, right? What are some of the things that you're dealing with right now? Or why are you interested in oils? Have you heard about Young Living, right? These are all separate questions that you could be asking. And that back and forth, right? Really what you want to do is have the other person be talking more than you. That's something else that I had to learn. And that's a skill, you guys. That's not something a lot of us knew when we first got started in the business, but to be the one that is not doing the majority of the talking, to be the one who is asking the questions and let them talk, right? That's really the skill to learn. So if you have a tendency to word vomit like me, it's just learning to give a little bit of information, ask a question, zip it, let them talk. Right? Then you can respond and go, you know what? Maybe it's talking about sleep, or they have a toddler who is having a tantrum, anything, right? You insert whatever's going on. And then it could just be you know what? I used to be like that too. And then I started using XYZ, right? Do you see sort of like the simple language using? And then it's like, okay, what else do you see yourself using it? Or have you ever tried anything like that? Would you be open to trying it, right? Like there are certain questions you can ask to get them to respond back. And it's this back and forth. That's a great way for someone to learn, because if you're sitting there for like 30 minutes doing all the talking, they've already checked out. They checked out after 30 seconds. The thing is like people, not to sound sort of, egocentric, but they kind of are. they want to talk about themselves, right? So if it's only you talking about your story and your experiences, they're not going to learn as much. So let them be the one doing the talking. So yes, I love what Michelle has here in the comment box. It's the be the one asking the question. And
Tracy, I have an example.
Oh, I would love to hear.
So this actually just happened to me yesterday. I had a member, it was her birthday, and I texted her and said, happy birthday. And I have the text message open. I'm going to read it to you guys. She said, I know I don't subscribe to Young Living. Is there a bundle of oils or products you recommend? Still trying to learn about all the different benefits. That was very vague. I could have given her the PSK. I could have given her all my favorite oils. Instead, I went back and said, of course, what types of things are you looking for support with? That'll give me a better idea of what to recommend. She's having issues with hair, skin, and nails because of a thyroid disorder. That totally changes the game, because now I'm not recommending a PSK. I'm recommending sulfurzyme and rosemary and lavender and cedarwood. So like, just sometimes all it takes is one question to get you into a better direction for somebody who's like, well, I just kind of want oils. So I hope that was helpful. Sometimes it's helpful to hear an example.
That's so good, Michelle. And I often think that's usually how it goes, is someone will go ask some vague question about it. How long have you been using it? Have you ever tried it for this? And so that's an opportunity to be the one asking the questions. Can I also give you one more little bit of feedback? Not only for customers, but even as I talk to brand partners, the one asking the questions is the one controlling the conversation. And the way that you ask the question, you can direct people in the way that you sort of want them to get to, right? To land to. But there's something different when they say it versus you telling them, right? Let me give you an example, right? Me telling Michelle, I really think you need to do this business. You'd be so great at it, and giving her all these things, right? Versus so tell me what's going on with your life right now, right? Maybe Michelle says, oh, it's such a struggle. I'm working and I've got the kids. And maybe I ask her, wouldn't it be great to have something that's flexible, right? Where you make your own hours? Like, could you see yourself doing that? See, I'm asking the question. She's like, yeah, that would be wonderful. Yeah. Have you ever thought about, business opportunities, right? Asking her a question, she responds. But do you see how I know where I'm leading her, right? But I'm asking the questions to get her there. That you can do the same thing with the oils, but I just want to put that power back for you in that you don't need to know all the answers. This is something else. If you've done sort of our color personality and you feel like you need to know all the details and facts and be the encyclopedia, you don't need to know everything. I don't know everything. Whenever someone asks me about the science, I defer to Ashley Diet. I'm like, Ashley, talk about the science. I don't know. I just use it and I know it works, right? You don't need to know everything, right? But be the one asking the question and know where you want to lead them. I think that's a really important thing to remember. Know where you want to lead them. Jamie, yes, I had a friend ask me on Sunday what oils I use. I could have gone on for hours, but I asked her what was going on. Turns out she was worrying about gut health. Oh, and she placed an order tonight. Jamie, I am so happy for you. That is awesome. So, so good. Yeah, be the one asking the question, not the one doing the word vomit. What other questions do you guys have? Oh, this is really good from Jen. Love this. When you are working with newer builders and they say they don't know anyone or they don't have a lot of friends, how do you lead those convos? Do we have another leader who wants to take this one on? I could always mention what I'd like to do too, but I wanted to make sure we give spotlight to other people. Ashley, and I see Stacy we've got here too. Anybody want to take this one? I mean, I could kind of just tell you from my own perspective. I was totally the person that said this because I'm like, I'm an introvert. I don't even have a lot of friends, right? This is what I would say. I only know like 20 people, right? And people, or they might just go, it's just me and my family. And so I think that's such a good question. And this is something that I feel like it's a bit of an objection that sometimes people have. And I think people don't realize the influence that they have with just those people, right? They have influence with those 5 people or 20 people or whoever they are. And that is huge, right? Very few of us don't have any friends or family at all. Usually we know some people. And the thing is something else that I like to do is in the Rise booklet. If you've not seen it yet, it's in the virtual office under member resources. And this is a perfect booklet to use getting started as a new member, or I'm sorry, as a new business builder. But there is a page in there where you list out people you know, and everybody you know, from like the person who does your nails to your massage therapist, your chiropractor, right? There are people sort of like outside of like maybe our friend and family group that we have totally forgotten about, that we interact with all the time. The guy from the grocery store, right? Just our postal carrier, so many different people. And we forget about the conversations that we have with them and the influence we have both with them and with our close family and friends. So even if you're starting with 5, 10, 15, 20 people, that's still those people. Here is also the magic with just this whole business model with network marketing is it's not necessarily who you know, it's who those 20 people know, right? So in that friend and family group, you've got 20 people. Maybe they're the ones who know 100 people, 200 people. Maybe they're the ones who are super outgoing. You know what I mean? Like it's all about who they know as well. So I know when Ashley first started, right? She did a lot of this, and she did this in particular in person. So you can do this on social media in person, but she would invite people. And actually, I'll leave it to you so you can talk more about this. But I thought it was so inspiring because I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing.
I was like, it's not unmuting me and I'm talking. I don't know, Tracy, maybe it's a good thing to ask you this because to me, everything blends together that I've always done because it's things that that I've done because of what I've been involved with or people I've been in contact with. Um, y'all can also laugh at me. I still have no voice from screaming for my kid for 3 days at a swim meet. And now I have allergies. So I just sound like I'm dying and I am living my best life. I'm not dying. And I want to say that to y'all because it sounds really bad. So, oh, it's okay. It's just funny. It's honestly funny. I'm like, this is like, I was screaming my head off. This is not what she asked me, but I do want to say this. Guys, the time freedom when your kids do something that requires you is huge in our business. And context, like my kid went to a 3-day swim meet, and I think I had no idea that like that would require 100% of my like mental and physical, like it was like 10 hours a day of all there. I could never have done that with a traditional job. It was Friday during the day, missed school for it, Saturday and Sunday, which guys, I'm here when my kids get home from school. I get them ready every day. I didn't feel like I missed the weekend with my kids, my other kids. Like it wasn't like this. I never see you during the week. I was like, oh, well, it's kind of a bummer that I was gone and you weren't with us. But it was this like reminder of beautiful time freedom, like freaky, beautiful. You don't have to quit your full-time job, but our flexibility and freedom to do this job is huge. Even if we get to miss out, we have to miss out on things we love. On Friday night, I had to miss out on something I was doing with Rachel, but I had to. And I mean, it was okay. She did a phenomenal job. It was a gorgeous builders event. And I stopped by later and Avery came and he like laid on her couch and ate food at her house and knew that that was like family. Like he didn't think it was weird. He's like, I want to go to Rachel. He's like, I don't want to go with dad. Like I'm going to go to Rachel's house because this is our family. Like this is what we do. It's not weird. It's not mommy's weird job. It's like part of who we are. And that identity piece is huge. And that realization as your kids get older, that they see it in you. Like they see you have flexibility and freedom. Because my kids know when I'm on my phone answering messages, I'm not scrolling, watching random YouTube videos. Like I'm working. And it's okay if I do that sometimes when I'm with them. It's also okay if sometimes I say no to work because I'm with them doing something they love. And it's exciting. So Tracy was referring to the me when I had little babies and I was doing this very differently, specifically in getting people to classes and using social media to do that. Tracy, am I on the right vein? Because she said that and I'm like, hopefully she means what I think she means. I was just really consistent in inviting people and I did it no matter what. And it was not always pretty. I did for the first 6 months of business, I did a class every single week during the week while I was working full time, coaching a sport, having kids at 2 separate daycares. And I loved it because it showed me that people want to show up and have community. They want to learn in person. I did online too. Online then was like start meeting. It was a so hot freaking mess, but it just was a model for consistency for me, and also a model of like, even though I worked a lot in person, I had to leverage the power of my influence. And my sphere of influence was not just passing people like I mean, I didn't even have kids in school yet then. It wasn't just at my work or at my church. It was definitely me putting a lot of excitement and energy into Facebook, saying like what I loved, what it looked like, the setup of my house, what piece of comedy did for my family tonight. And it was very simple. And I say it was easy now, but it wasn't easy when I did it. I would spend every single drive to and from work scheduling a phone call with someone. Are you doing that now? Like, are you? And I'm not talking about hustling. I'm talking about strategic business moves. Like every time you meet someone, are you following up with them? Are you engaging? Like, or are you just kind of complacent? Because most of us are kind of complacent. I mean, I'll be honest with y'all. I like money, but I'm not like super money motivated. So it's very easy for me to be like, meh, it's not working really well. Like it's very easy for me to be like, yeah, this kind of sucks. And just not stew in negativity, but like me, I'd rather not do that because it just feels like icky. And I'm a 3 on the Enneagram. I like to win. So I really feel like I'm winning best when I'm engaging with people, getting them engaged in our business or engaged as a customer. And when I am filling my home or someone else's home with people. And that can be a Zoom too. I just don't know that it translates as well because it's very hard to measure our reach when we're inviting people through like Project Broadcast and Instagram and an email. It's very hard to measure our reach. So you can talk to people one by one. You can be the one person that changes their life by inviting them. Yeah, having butts and seats at your house. Tracy, it's really special that you can come this weekend. I want you to know I only have 10 spots. So if you have a friend to come with you, I have 8 of them filled. So I have 2 more spots that I will save for your 2 friends or your 1 friend if you have them. Does that work for you? What would you say?
I would say yes, because you're asking. But it's
Yeah.
the language that you're using. It's the way that you're saying it. You said my name, it was personalized, and can I see you there this weekend? Like all of it was amazing.
So sweet. Allison, when you're here on the weekend of Shamrock on Saturday afternoon from 3 to 5, would you be able to come and ask your friends from the local area to a make and take all about just Shamrock and the luck of our products?
Yes, that sounds
Awesome.
lovely. I absolutely can do that. I look forward to it.
What snacks and drinks can I have to make you guys more comfortable?
Well, it's Shamrock weekend, so some beer would be
Perfect.
great. Maybe some green snacks. I
Great.
think
I'll
that
have
would be
Spanish
fun.
and beer for you. Be great.
2 lovely combos. That's awesome.
I mean, I'm
The
sorry I'm
trip
over
works.
exaggerating, but like Tracy, what you're saying is really interesting because I feel so good when people say my name and ask me personally, but like I have a women's group that meets on Wednesdays. I messaged everyone personally tonight that has come before. And I'm like, hey, Trish, can I expect to see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.? How was your week? And I don't think I'm not like putting pressure, I'm not making it weird, but I'm like, hey, Trish, you're expected, you're wanted. Are you going to show up? That's basically what I'm saying. Like, hey, Rachel, we're leaving on Thursday together. I don't have to do this. My point is, are you going to be ready to leave at 6:30 in the morning? Are your kids covered? Are you excited? How are you feeling about it? Like, I didn't say, hey, are you still good to go? Like, you good? Like, you good? You good to go? Because she already said she was going, right? Like, people already say make a commitment. And then like the follow through is we have to do that. And it's really hard. Because most of us are flippant in our decisions anymore. Even with a Zoom, tonight I'm like, "Are you coming to the Zoom?" I'm gonna try. Hey, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to have my camera and my volume off and listen while I'm putting my kids to bed. No one says that. They just said, I'm going to try. But really, anybody can be on a Zoom. Y'all realize that, right? They can just, they could not even listen to it and just have it on their phone and lay it down. Like anyone can do that. And I hope that's not what we're doing. But I mean, we have to remember the value of showing up. Yes, Michelle said, I'm more likely to go to something that makes me feel like a priority invite and not an afterthought. Oh, if you're free, but no big deal. Right. Tracy, that's a long answer to your very simple statement and question.
To dovetail off of what Ashley was saying, I wouldn't be on this call if Ashley didn't follow up with me the way she just said. If you're new on this call and you're just trying to figure out how to get your feet wet, exposure. And so there's it's just a fact. It's a psychological fact. There's research. There's all kinds of market research on this of exposure to something. So that's why when you talk about something with your husband and the next thing you know, you're seeing Facebook ads about it, maybe like multiple brands. Like I was talking about that mitt that helps to exfoliate your skin. And literally I have seen 10 different companies of this mitt. Okay. The more I see it, I'm like, you guys, I ordered it last night. This is a week after I'd would scroll past it. And then after the 10th time, I was like, well, let me see what this is about. And then my friend used it and she loved it. And so it was kind of this layering of exposure. And so if you think that you're going to do one post or mention one thing, unless that person has a serious need, like their kid is struggling and they are actively looking with eyes wide open. For them, it might just be oh, that's cool. And then they put it down, right? But when there's a layering of exposure or a layering of information as whether that's social media, a diffuser blend, and then maybe the following 4 or 5 days later, you talk about why diffusing is so awesome. Maybe the next time your friends come over, you have the diffusers on. It's just that layering, however it looks like, and it can be completely natural. That is really what builds trust, what builds curiosity in people. And you can even do it in yourself. Like how many times, even just in relationships, the more you're around someone, the more you know, and trust them. That's just like that. So it's the same thing, except we mesh products with needs. And so it's just, there's an art to it, like Ashley was saying, but there's also learning how to invite people. And like Ashley was saying, you're literally holding people accountable for what they said they were going to do. The first class I went to 8 years ago, I told her I was going to go. And then that day it was raining. And I kind of had childcare lined up and it was 30 minutes away. It was a Tuesday. It was something. And I think I messaged her. I was like, hey, I don't think I'm going to make it. And she voice messaged me back and she's like, oh, I know you said you were going to come. And it was something along the lines of, I know you said you were going to come and I have a spot for you. I told Courtney you were coming. She's so excited to meet you. And she's like, I'm really excited to see you tonight. Literally, you said you were coming. And her tone is why I went. Had she been like, yeah, okay, probably I would tell you the truth. But now I've taken notes from her, and I went. And that was the night I was like, oh, this is really awesome. But having butts and seats, guys, social media is incredible. But this past weekend, I went to 2 in-person events, and then Jamie, who's on this call, had an in-person event, and she had some really cool things happen. There's just something about having people in front of you, having those conversations. And I learned a lot of really cool oily protocols. So when you get people together and you start talking about oils and there's someone else in the room that uses oils too, you're going to learn something, but everyone else in the room is going to learn something. And that's really, really powerful. So I, in this season, am trying to do more one-on-one connecting, more in-person connecting. That's my goal this season. And we all have different goals. We all have different strengths. There's girls in our team who are so good at one-on-one and just sitting with people in coffee shops and meeting their needs and getting them started with products, and that might be you. You might be someone that's on Insta stories every day, and that's your comfort level, and that's how you expose information to people. Really operating in your strength, I think is going to be what gives you the greatest joy. So I am very joyful in business now because I'm acting in my giftings, so to say. So it just becomes an overflow when you have joy in your business, right? And everyone benefits from the overflow of what comes out. So I don't know. I don't even know what the question was or what. All I'm saying is that accountability and that follow-up with people is huge. Follow-up is literally everything. Follow-up and exposure. So really, if you are consistently using oils and you're talking about them, not in an annoying way, but in a way that they're just part of your life, and you're just showing people what you do, guys, people watch Insta stories and watch reality TV because secretly we are real curious to look in other people's windows. That is so creepy, but that's just psychology, right? So people really, it might not be important to you, but people really want to see that you're putting a roller fitment on your Endoflex and you roll it on your thyroid. Like that might be so trivial to you, but that can be so fascinating to someone else, seeing you do that every day as part of your routine. So just encouraging you not to get bored with the exposure and constantly doing and constantly talking about it, even if you feel like it's not a big deal. Like everyone knows about lavender. No, everyone really does not know about lavender, believe it or not. So, okay, I don't know who I'm kicking this off to, but yes.
So Jen had a really good question. And I think it speaks to those of us, to leaders, as well as to anyone who's just getting started. Okay. So the question is, how do you work with people who want to build online, but it's not working out well for them and after months, but they are scared to do in person, but you kind of know that's probably the best option for them to be successful. So what do you do? And this is also speaking to people who really want to build online, right? But maybe you're just kind of getting started. Maybe you don't like the previous question, right? Like you don't know a lot of people. So what do you do? So I will tell you, for me personally, again, introvert here. So introverts unite. If anybody's thinking, well, I'm an introvert, right? I don't know if I can do this. There's a lot of us doing this business, just by the way. And it was easier, right, for me to be like sharing online. I'm like, oh my gosh, sharing in person. I don't know if I can ever do this, right? So I will tell you, for me personally, I think it's important to diversify, right? And maybe you'll hear a different answer from someone else, but I think it's good to learn to do this business in different ways. One-on-one, building online, building in person, whether it's a small class or a larger class. You might even want to try a vendor event, just for the sake of, why not just try it? Especially like during the holidays when the schools are doing like these fairs, right? Like a holiday fair. It's very low cost to kind of get in. You just bring your diffuser and some oils, versus like, buying in at like a farmer's market. But I think it's important to try all the different ways to see where you really shine. And the thing is I never thought I would enjoy doing in person. It really wasn't something that I was looking to do. And I was scared out of my wits. Some of you have probably heard, like, I was sweaty, like I didn't even close at my first class. But what I learned from that was that I really gained a lot of energy from like a group. And what I also learned was, you kind of like find your niche, right? Like for me, I enjoy doing the DIY. And so that's how I would like to teach. But there are other people who don't enjoy doing DIY. They just want the product. And so they don't do that. And that works too. I think you can really play up to your strengths doing this, but I think you just have to give it a try. And Vanessa had a really good comment here. There's a couple of things, right? So if you don't want people in your house, you can go to a coffee shop. I cannot tell you how many one-on-ones or small group classes I have done outside of a Panera, right? Starbucks, local coffee shop, brewery, kombucha place. Like I've done it everywhere. So that's a really great thing that you can do if you don't want to have people in your home. I've even just done it in my backyard and just like had the gate open, said, come out in the back, it's nice out here. And if it's talking in front of people, let me just tell you something that's really worked for me is having a script. I kid you not, like our 101 script, I had the script in my hand in my first class because I personally like to have talking points. I can go off on a tangent if I don't have talking points. And I just sort of liked having an outline of like, okay, here are the things that I'm going to cover, and kind of take it from there. So if you've not checked out our resources, we do have scripts available. The thing that's different from when most of us have started is now anybody can order anything, right? So you can take that script that we originally created, we call it our 101 script. It's all about the premium starter kit. But what you could do is you could still teach the premium starter kit, or you could teach to like a theme. Maybe you take out that portion about the premium starter kit and you talk about a theme. It could be hormones. It could be like a thieves cleaning class. It could be anything really, right? Oils for kids, oils for pets. One tip that I will give you, and this goes back to like sharing too much. I think sort of like the sweet spot is keep it to like 10 to 12 products. Once you go over that, then it's very overwhelming, right? And then helping people at the end, right? Like during the close, like what products do you see yourself using? Let me help you build your first order, right? Like using those kind of keywords, but it takes practice. I didn't close well in my first class. I didn't sign up anybody, you guys, zero. I signed up 0 people in my first class. I know other people in this call were incredibly successful. They enrolled 3, 5, 10, 20 people. But I just want to tell you, even though that first class, I didn't, but I learned from it. What I learned was I didn't close well. And so I had to learn how to close. So every experience, I think, is a learning moment for us to assess, right? I don't know about you. I'm not the type of person that's like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do it better? What I go is, okay, what did I do well? What didn't go so well? How can I pivot, right? Or change so that I can get the result that I want for the future, right? Like think like a business. So those are all really great suggestions from Vanessa. And we have some other suggestions here in the comment box too. But yeah, even Jamie's saying sharing in person is easier than sharing online because everyday usage is so normal. Yeah, I agree. And you know what? Now when I teach, I can roll into a class and just pretty much teach about everything. But I remember in the early days, we were doing like these Facebook classes and I had to have graphics ready and all this stuff. It's so much easier for me personally to teach on a Zoom, show the products, right? Or teach in person, show products and pass them around. You guys, once people have product in their hand and they're smelling, they're trying it on, maybe they're making something, there's something that changes with that kind of like engagement where they really could see themselves using it. And you can even ask them those types of questions. Like, could you see yourself using it? Who in your family could really use this peace and calming, right? All really good tips. Anybody else have any other tips to share on helping people teach in person? I like this. Vanessa is suggesting to teach a class together. We've had a lot of people have great success with this. It's a I teach, we teach, you teach kind of format. So I'll give you an example of this. Maybe the first class that a builder goes to is a class that you host. They host, you teach, right? So you're more of the experienced presenter. They invite some people, you teach, maybe have them introduce you and share a couple of testimonials, right? The next class that you do together, it's a co-host. You're both teaching it, right? So it's going back and forth, letting that other person who's a newer builder step in to leadership and share more. And then third class that you do together, they are teaching. You're kind of there just for sort of moral support, maybe answering a few questions, helping to fill in any gaps that maybe they forgot to do. But that's a really great way to teach with a newer builder too. So I teach, we teach, you teach. Love it. Great suggestions, you guys, in the comments. Okay. Love it. Love it. What other questions do you guys have? This is so good. This is your time to ask us anything. Does anybody have questions about the closing? I feel like this is something that comes up a lot too, is how do I close? How do I close a class? Anybody have questions on that one? Like I said earlier, this was definitely not something that came very easy to me and I had to learn. So as we wait for more questions to come through, questions or comments, let me just tell you, the close, yeah, I feel like we need to do Cheryl's close. Yeah, exactly. That was so good. Cheryl's close was so good. I don't have it written out, but Jen, I know, has shared it with us before, and it was awesome. Yeah, so I just want to tell you in a nutshell, I used to like really like build up in my head what the close was, but really just to boil it down to like one simple thing, the close is you showing them how to order. That's it. But I think for me, I had built like, oh, the close has to be this big thing. And really it's you've shared, they've experienced, they know about the product. Now it's the, let me show you how to order, right? And we were just at Winter Harvest with this woman who was fantastic. Her name is Cheryl. And she was sharing with us, hold on, this great tip that she uses on how to do the close. And what she does, let's see if I can get my camera back on. What she does is she will share a couple of different strategies, a couple of different ways to order. It's like 3 different ways. Sorry, you guys, I'm not able to get my camera back on. Sorry, having some technical difficulties, so I can't show you. Jen, do you happen to have a copy of the graphic? I know you had like your little whiteboard, but in a nutshell, let's see here. Sorry, you guys, I don't know what's going on with my video. But in a nutshell, what it was is there were a few different ways that you could get started. This is her close, okay? And she would literally draw out 3 boxes. Box 1 was kind of like the order anything, right? Order anything for, you know, whatever it is, 50 PV, right? Like that's a way to get started. And here's how you do it. The other way to do it is order 100 PV and you'll get free shipping, right? But you can order anything. And then the third way to do it, right, is to order 100 PV, but put it on subscription so that not only are you getting free shipping, but you could also get, you know, points for your first order. And then you could use those points for future orders like store credit. So it was sort of like the tiered 1, 2, 3. And if you've ever gone to other websites before, you'll see tiered pricing like that. And people love it, right? Very rarely will people get sort of like the very first option. They're usually going to the middle or the top tier option. So it just gives people options and how to order, but it was so effective because she literally just drew out the boxes. And she was saying that every single time she would do it, people would go, okay, I want it. I want at least 100 PV because I want the free shipping, or I want the 100 PV with subscription because I want the points too. So super effective and very visual, but you could certainly do that in an in-person class as well as an online class. Okay. So let's see here. Wendy's asking about the business aspect. I would love to pass this on. Do we have other leaders who want to share? How do you start talking about the business with the customer? Anybody want to take that one on? How do you share the business with a new customer? Okay, can you guys hear me or am I stuck? I see Wendy. Okay, perfect. All right, so I will tell you. You can hear me, Jamie? Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with my video. So I will tell you, as far as sharing the business, I do it right away. So the second a customer signs up with me, I send them an email. And if you need a copy of the email that I use, it's in Gather and Dwell. I mean, it's pretty much the same email I've used for several years. So it'll probably say 2018 or 2019, but I basically cover 5 points and I send that in an email, but I also send a text out as well. Or if they're in person, I will share with them. I'll go, okay, now that you're signed up, here's a few things. Number one, how to reorder, right? Number two, if you're not already on Subscribe to Save, this is why you need to get on it. Or I'll tell them now that you're on Subscribe to Save, if they opted in for that, I'll tell them, how to edit their subscription next month, right? So just a little bit on the Subscribe to Save. Number three, I point them to resources. So our Facebook group, Young Living and their blog, the Life Steps app, right? So just a few things. And then lastly, what I share with them is make sure you go into youngliving.com and grab your share link. If you know anybody, right, who might like oils or who, might be interested, be sure to share this because this is your referral link. And then I'll just kind of give a little bit of information there with that. But that's basically what I do right from the get-go. So text, email, or if they're in person, those are the 4 things that I'm sharing with them. And I feel like just letting them know about the referral link then gets the question going back and forth about the business. But at the very beginning, right, I don't want to word vomit on them and tell them everything, but I want to make sure they know about that share link. But usually sooner or later, they'll start asking me, or right about after like a month when I check in with them, I'll ask them again, hey, did you know about the share link? Did you have any questions about how to do that? I'd love to hear from some other leaders. How are you guys sharing the business with people? Anybody else? What are some tips that you have? Is anybody teaching a business class? Oh, Jamie, please go ahead.
Sorry, I will say I put it in the comments, but an easy way that I found to close that helped me with 2 of my new people that signed up over this week was Alex told us the other night at the thing at Rachel's about how she was talking to somebody and they didn't have time necessarily right then to go online to set up an account. So Alex went in and because she had her email and her phone number, she was able to set up an account for her and she put in the cart what they had talked about and all. So all she did was she used her email for the username and then the password was her last name and the last 4 digits of her phone number. And she didn't have to get credit card info. She didn't have to get anything else. And the lady was able to go right in and check out, fill in all her info and everything else. And I've done that twice already this week. And they were amazed at how easy it was.
That's so good, Jamie. I think the big thing there is that you're showing them, right, and talking to them about it. So I think that's just kind of something to remember. In the same vein that you are sharing oils, sharing about Subscribe to Save, that's the thing, is share about the business, right? And maybe it just starts off on these little like spoon feeding. Did you know about the Share YL link? Make sure that you're sharing and you've got the referral and you can do that. Show them where to find it. I don't know if you guys have seen these graphics. Again, we've got them in Gather and Dwell, and I will bump them so you can see them again. But we've got these graphics. I am constantly sending them out to people. It's like, do you know how to find your link? Here's how you can find it on your phone. And I am always sending that out to people. I even include that again, sometimes in my emails. Thank you so much, Jamie. That was good. Okay, other questions? Let's see. Let's roll through the comment box. Oh, this is a really good one. So I had someone the other day discussing how she is switching and doing more research for her products in her home with her kids. And I let the conversation slip away. The conversation just kind of went dry. Is there a way to reopen the convo at this point? It's been a few days. So sort of like a follow-up. Oh, this is good. Who wants to grab this one? Ashley, Rachel, Allison, Stacy, Christina, you guys want to respond?
I mean, I always can. I just feel like I talked a lot. So I try to be quiet. Who was asking, just context? Let me scroll back up. Who asked that? In other words, what's your business background? Like, have you ever done something like that in person, online? How are you working mostly? Nobody.
She said online, and then she is in the chat.
Yeah. Okay, I see it. Awesome. So something I like to do is just remind them why they were interested and then offer an invite to 2 different alternative dates. So, okay, Jalen, if you if you had a mom, I don't know if you have kiddos, but if you have a kid that maybe their mom has like commented and said, oh, I see that your kids are really healthy or something like positive or negative, like, how do you guys have so much energy? Then a lot of times what I'll do is, yeah, hey, Jalen, I have a class this weekend. I was thinking about you, and it seems like this would be the perfect fit. We're going to talk a lot about energy and hormones, and I know that you would really enjoy the information. Can I save you a spot? Or like, I'm that direct a lot, or less direct. Hey, Jalen, I saw you were wondering about my kiddos and energy. Can we talk about it more? Like, that's less direct, or even less direct. Hey, Jalen, I'm struggling here too with getting my kids up every morning. What are you using right now? Like, super direct and an invitation, moderately direct and offering a conversation, very indirect and offering the opportunity to learn information. So those are really like the 3 levels that you'd probably converse with someone. If you are less aggressive, quote, in your conversation than the 3rd level, you're probably not effective in communicating with people. That leads them to disclose any information that would be personally relevant to you and your connection to health. Sorry if that's harsh sounding, but if you're not even like engaging in an issue that is known or you assume is known to them about their family in some way, you're probably not engaging them. Like they're probably just like, you're vanilla. Everyone likes vanilla, right? Like it's fine, but what does vanilla really mean as a flavor? Not much. It's what we get. We don't know what other toppings to put on, right? So I like to close the same way with like good, better, best. Like someone can choose good and I'm not going to judge them. Someone can choose the best and I might think they're the best, but it's on them, the level in which they decide to commit to their health at any given moment. Anybody else? Gosh, guys, we've gone over by 19 minutes, which means we're packed with information. Saw people leaving. I was like, why are they leaving? I'm like, now I know why, because they are probably moving on to the next thing, inviting people to their events, crushing their lives in a positive way. Figuring out what motivational strategy works for you is huge. I know I've already talked about him once tonight, but going back to my kid does not like to win, as in recognition, doesn't like it. Like wants to win because he likes to win. He does not love people applauding, cheering for him. He really doesn't love encouragement. What he likes is someone telling him to like kill and destroy and dominate every person that's trying to win also. He doesn't want to know their names. He's not like mean. It's not like that. It's like mental, like, okay, so how do I need to win? You're going to crush and destroy and dominate and leave no person like like just destroy every single bit of competition and do so in a way that's honorable and sportsmanlike. And when you walk out, everyone applauds you. Like that was motivational to him. And it's great as a parent. It's like not super fun because he doesn't like need me to, he doesn't want to like chat about his next upcoming race. He doesn't want to like give like a hug and a high five. He doesn't even like me to really pray for him. He just like is his own, like, I'm a beast. I'll do my own thing. I have another kiddo who wants like all the like, you're amazing, so proud of you. If you reach your hand out a little further, you'll touch the wall first. If you run a little faster, you'll be the guy beside you. You get to be with your friends. There's cupcakes after. We're gonna have so much fun. And I have another kid that I'm like, hey, if you move fast enough, they won't close the course before you're done. And that's awesome. And you'll get to get done. So point of saying that to you guys is I think the biggest thing when we look at how we invite, how we close, how we run our business is like, what drives us and what do we need the outcome to look like? If you need the outcome to look like steal, kill, and destroy and dominate, then you have to set yourself up for that. If the outcome for you is a very soft, like it felt good in my house tonight, set yourself up for that. Like you have to set yourself up to where you're like, yes, I can measure this, it's progress, but also like my gut, who I am, who God made me to be, like I feel good about this next thing I'm doing. Like it feels not easy, not comfortable, but good. So good for some people could be, this was so hard, I want to puke, but good for some people would be, I'm not the last guy out there. And so maybe the sports analogies don't work well for y'all. They work really well for me. But I just think like that's different personalities and it's different styles. And whatever you like to do more of it is what I want to encourage you this week. Just do more of it. Like don't change it, do more of it. So those of you on here that are like, I'm crushing life on Instagram, like do more. I'm doing amazing. I have a class next month. Like, why not have 4, right? Like, let's just see what happens when we step into more of what we know we're supposed to be doing. More one-on-ones, more calls, like whatever it is. So thanks for being on here tonight. We have loved this time together. I'm going to just close this out and can't wait to see you all next week. If not before then Tuesday night. It's been so much fun and I've learned so much. I want to thank specifically Michelle for sharing and leading us through our first call tonight and everyone else who contributed. We are just always so honored to work together and just amazing leaders on this team. Thanks, you guys, and have a great night.